Hey everyone, this is Helena, and I'm so excited to be talking with Adrienne Everhart again today. Welcome, Adrienne.
Hi, Helena. It's so good to be back. Hi, everyone tuning in. I really appreciate being here and talking to you tonight, Helena.
I'm actually really excited for this topic in particular because this is something we get asked about all the time. It's one of the number one questions we get from women, and that is how to keep a man chasing you throughout the early stages of dating and really throughout the course of your entire relationship. We just can't tell you how many women we hear from every week who are like confused or frustrated because the man came on really strong in the beginning only to have him fade away and for things to fizzle, especially right when she's like starting to develop feelings for him. It's a really common pattern that we see all the time. So we're just going to jump right in today. Adrienne, what is your top method or top tip for keeping a man chasing you?
Well, the first thing that I think about to really keep that chase going, that passion, that masculine energy, the interest, and the curiosity. Curiosity has to be a big part of it. And this is the main thing that women get wrong is that they actually commit to a man very, very quickly in the dating process, and they commit quickly thinking that that's going to be a guarantee, or that means that the relationship is going to remain as strong as it is in the first 1 to 3 months. But really what we're going for here is called the slow burn. Now, Helena, I know you've heard of this term before, but what does it mean to you, the slow burn?
I love this idea of the slow burn. And we want to really emphasize here that this has to be authentic. If you're familiar with our work, if you've seen some of our other videos or programs that we've done, everything has to be authentic. It can't be a game. It's not a superficial strategy, because if you want to get permanent results, you can't keep those games going forever, right? Because it's all about him, trying to affect him in some way. So it can't be about him. It has to be about you authentically doing this slow burn method. And what comes to mind when you said, the woman commits so early on, even in her mind, we can tend to do this. We really like a guy. We've only been seeing him if, maybe you've been on a couple dates with him or it's just been a few weeks. And what do you feel like doing? You close off your other options, right? You immediately stop dating other men. This guy becomes your main focus because he's the one you really like, right? And it's kind of human nature when we do that. It's almost like we put him on a pedestal, even in very subtle ways. And when we do that, we start to like try and prove ourselves to him or win his love or kind of pull him down what I call the relationship timeline. So when you're way ahead of a man on the relationship timeline and he's still back at square one, that's where the dynamic can get all messed up. So with the slow burn, it's really about being one step behind the man on this relationship timeline. So he's the one moving things along. He's in his masculine energy, moving things forward, and everything just works out so much easier for you that way. Adrienne, what do you think about that?
Yeah, everything you're saying is exactly the right way to do this. There are actual steps that will help you do this, the slow burn, correctly. And you're right, it is nothing manipulative, but it is something that you want to have an awareness about. And as soon as you can have that awareness and you can begin to notice yourself, how quickly you're doing these certain things that we're going to share with you, you can really begin to harness your feminine energy and explore your power as a woman in a relationship with a man, and allow this relationship, that slow burning process of developing over time and developing very strongly and creating a very strong bond. One of the first things that I think of is that very quickly we commit. A man, my clients tell me a man will on the sometimes second or third date say, "So are you dating anyone else?" And you'll have to say, "Well, I mean, kind of." We don't really want to tell them, "Yes, I'm dating other people." And the first thing is just get really clear. Yeah, I'm meeting guys for coffee. I'm interested in dating right now. And if he really likes you, somewhere on the second or third date, sometimes they will let you know that they don't want you to date anyone else. And this is really one of the fastest moves a guy makes. He comes in hot and heavy, and he wants you to commit immediately to dating only him. And sex just only complicates that. That's the next thing we're going to talk about. But Helena, what do you feel about that commitment trap so many women can fall into really quickly?
Absolutely. I call it the exclusivity trap because, as we all know, I'm sure you've experienced, everyone watching, just because a man doesn't want you dating other men and wants to be exclusive does not mean that he's all the way down the relationship timeline and he's ready to like commit or propose to you within the next few months or year, or it could be indefinite. I have so many clients who are like, yeah, I became exclusive with this guy and I don't really, know if he wants to get married. And that's what I want. That's why I call it the exclusivity trap. Exclusivity does not mean that you're moving any closer towards a lifelong commitment, for example. Generally speaking, for some men, those two things go hand in hand, but not all men. A lot of times they want you to be exclusive with them so they don't have to worry about competition or another guy stealing you away. But the main thing we want to emphasize with this exclusivity thing is that it does not necessarily mean that things are moving towards a deeper commitment unless that's being talked about. So Adrian, I'd love to hear from you. What are some things you would have a woman say to a man who asks, are you dating other men, or asks her to be exclusive, and she wants to know whether or not they're on the same page, before making that big commitment?
Oh, yeah. So we get this all the time. And this is one of my favorite subjects that we talk about in both of our programs, is really just the benefit of doing this the right way. Don't get me wrong. It is a powerful rush to, the first few dates you have with a man, just everything's unfolding and everybody's, you're both crazy about each other and excited. And so it really takes a lot of your inner strength to understand this is that timeline that Helena's speaking about, this relationship timeline, and that the man is really using a lot of words at this point in the relationship. And don't get me wrong, he's probably really feeling right now in this moment, I want to claim her. But we really want you to create something that's going to stick and something that's going to last. So we talk about this really heavily in Find and Keep the One Without Coming Undone, because we not only want you to just find him, we want you to keep him. And one of the greatest ways you can do this is early on, build up your power as a feminine energy woman by letting him know, well, no, you don't get me right away. I don't commit right away. So some great examples of saying that is if he perhaps messages your phone on a Friday night and you're out on a date with a man and he says the next day to you, where were you? Where were you? Who were you with? And they can do things like this, come on really strong. And you just let him know, like, oh, well, yeah, I was out. Out with who? A lot of guys may ask, and you say, well, I was out having coffee. And he goes, having coffee with a guy? Are you still dating? Or a man might say, I saw your profile was still active. It was active last night. Are you still dating other guys? And you just let him know, well, yes, I'm still meeting other guys for coffee or dates. And I'm really, I'm flattered that you want to know this about me, but is there something I should know? Is there something more happening here? And just give the man the opportunity to let him know. Now, ladies, I want to tell you, I have had men stop dead in their tracks when I was back dating, where they would just go quiet on me for days and just go into this sulking mood that I still wanted to date other people. I would get lectures about how terrible it is out there and I'm letting the best thing possible pass me by, things like this. And I would say, well, wow, I feel so flattered that you feel this way and this feels so wonderful to hear, but I'm really not interested in being a girlfriend. I do want to be a wife one day, and until there's that offer, I'm just going to see what else is out there. Now, I do believe at some certain point in time, you really want to let the guy know, if you've been together for months at this point, I think it's okay to give it a little trial basis and be exclusive with the guy at that point. And you can just really tell him, say, well, okay, I'll see where this goes. And then you're able to just let it unfold at that pace and just see how it grows. But always have that check-in in your own personal timeline, not his timeline, your timeline, where you can go to him and just say, where do you see the two of us going? I think that's a perfectly okay thing to ask a man. Don't you, Helena?
Absolutely, especially as a response to him asking you to be exclusive or asking you to stop dating your other men or take your profile down. There's certainly a right and a wrong way to do this. Everything you said was great, and I do want to mention this isn't a game. This is not about making a man jealous or trying to force him to commit by manipulating him, by dating other guys. It's not about that at all. It's just you're not going to commit yourself exclusively to anyone until you know for sure that the two of you are on the same page and that it's not going to die out after a couple months when all the newness of the situation wears off, right? So, when men, like, they feel intensely in short bursts, and like Adrienne said, they mean all these things. Usually they're not lying to you when they say that they're crazy about you and they see the two of you together and all these great things. They mean that. But after, about the 3-4 month mark, the dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin, all those really good feeling neurotransmitters that are associated with like the newness of the situation, all of that wears away. And that's when a man can have like a sobering moment, like the reality of the situation hits him. And that's where you might see a guy back off, because in his mind, he's like, he leapt before he looked, so to speak. He made all these promises, and now he's like, oh, wow, am I really ready for a committed relationship? Do I really want a serious girlfriend right now? So if a man asks you to stop dating other men or take your profile down or to be exclusive, the way to go about this would be like, wow, that feels incredible. And I would love for it to be just the two of us. I'm really looking forward to that. And, what I'm looking for is, they fill in the blank. What I'm looking for is a lifelong committed relationship, or I'm looking to settle down and have a family within this time frame. And before becoming exclusive with someone, it would feel really good to know whether or not that's something you see for yourself, or whether or not we're on the same page. Then, you can have a conversation about it. Adrienne, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I'm just like dying to jump in here because so often I tell my clients that, and they say, oh my God, that guy would be out the door so fast. And if that is the case, you have to be able to pass on that sort of man. You don't want any time wasters. So you definitely, if a guy gets scared by you saying, I want to be a wife or I want to be married one day, pass. You're here to attract something long lasting. I want to talk about sex a little bit, because this is a big question about sexual exclusivity, because, sometimes early on you can, get curious about a guy and have sex with him, relatively pretty early in the relationship. And just because you do have, an intimate experience with him, that doesn't also necessarily mean that the two of you are in a relationship. It will definitely create, like Helena was saying, the dopamine and all these chemical reactions in your body that are going to encourage pair bonding. But these are very short-lived chemicals, in the body. This is this is not a long-lasting bonding that you're having. It's temporary. You can make it long-lasting, however, though, by doing this slow burn technique we're talking about. So just with sexuality and having sex and being exclusive, if he wants you to be sexually exclusive with him and you're both okay with that, and there's an understanding that you might still date other people, that those are actually two separate things. Sexual exclusivity is different than I'm in a committed relationship with you and I'm only dating you. However, in most cases, we have both of them at the same time. But, I was in a sexually exclusive relationship with my main guy. I had my main guy for a while that I really thought things were going to develop into something long-term. And I'm really thankful that I kept my options open, because it did not work out. But now, of course, I'm happily married, so I'm glad that it didn't work out with that man. But what do you feel about, sexual exclusivity versus relationship commitment? Helena, how do those two get blurred in your mind?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hear from so many women where, there, I believe, was a time, maybe not even that long ago, where you could kind of assume if you were sleeping with a guy, if you were spending a lot of time with him, there was this assumption that things were moving forward towards some kind of commitment and marriage potentially, but you just can't assume that anymore. I mean, the truth is that just because you are sleeping with a man, just because you're spending lots of time with him, does not mean that he's made that shift in his own mindset where it's like, okay, we're doing this. This is the one for me. I'm claiming her. I want her forever. It doesn't work that way with men. It's a whole different process. We talk about that process in our program, Find and Keep the One Without Coming Undone. There's a different way you need to connect with a man. So if you're interested in that program, I'll post the link in the description of this video. But for the purposes of this video, yeah, a lot of women say, well, I just don't do that. I'm just into monogamy. If I'm with a guy, it's just me and him. And for a lot of women, they need to know that they're sexually exclusive in order to feel comfortable sleeping with a man. And I am all for that. You know, that's certainly how I would feel. That's how most women feel, right? So,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you are going to have sex after that first time and then they go in for the second time, that's when you want to say, oh, we need to tap the brakes here for a second. Are we exclusive? You know, what's happening here? So there's definitely that, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's definitely that in-between space where you really want to just be vulnerable and come to the man and ask him, instead of telling him, here's what I want, here's what I need with you. You want to say, you know, let's tap the brakes here for a second. This is feeling really great. Yet, are we exclusive now because I only have regular sex with someone that I'm in an exclusive, you know, sexually exclusive relationship with, or exclusive relationship with, whatever is what you need. Helena, I wanted to also mention our big one here, that, you know, the truth is, ladies, if you don't get this one right, even if you do the slow burn, things can really go a little haywire with your energy and the man. You can really end up having this sort of energy that's pushing him away. Helena, any ideas what I'm talking about?
I have a feeling, by the way, I always laugh so hard when you say tap the brakes. I don't know why. I remember you did that in our programs too. Every time you said he'll want to tap the brakes, it just makes me laugh. So I was like giggling over here when I heard you say tap the brakes, because it's just so true. So I have a feeling that you're going to say, thinking about a man, constantly committing yourself to him prematurely in your mind before he's had a chance to invest in you and commit himself to you. Am I anywhere in the vicinity there?
You're totally spot on. That was the big one that I just, you know, I have to always preface that in the beginning. And then for purposes of this video, we just wanted to save it for the last thing. But if you spend time thinking about this man and thinking about him and dwelling about him and talking about him with your friends and your mom and everyone, he's going to feel your energy all over him.
Yes. Everyone write this down. Overthinking changes your vibe. Those are just words to live by. Overthinking changes your vibe. Of course, it's okay to think, you know, to have nice thoughts of a guy, but it's that obsessive, you know, crazy spinning thoughts, thinking about him 24/7 when he's not right in front of you or contacting you. That shifts your vibe in the wrong direction. If you think he can't feel that, you are definitely mistaken. Men are really sensitive to this. And they all, you know, they have this dream, all of them, of kind of like winning over their dream girl and hoping she says yes. They want to pursue you. They do. They masculine energy men want to pursue you. They want to win you over, not the other way around. They don't have this dream of ending up with some woman who's chasing him, strategizing, trying to lock him down into some kind of commitment that he's not ready for. Adrienne, don't you agree?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they want to feel like, you know, they had to put in a hard day's work, you know, to really get this woman to choose him. And that's tough, you know, especially if your self-esteem is like a little bit low and you've had your heart broken recently and you're not really sure how to put the pieces back together. So this was one of my, you know, most coveted topics in Heartbreak to Happily Ever After, is that when you have experienced heartbreak, you don't feel that good about yourself. And here comes this, you know, great guy that you really could see a future happening with him. And you begin to invest all your energy in him. And then you know, you kind of scare him away a little bit with that vibe and that energy. So definitely take down Helena's note, practice it by keeping your life rich, full, and juicy, fun, all the fun and wonderful things you like to do. And of course, dating other men will keep you occupied as well.
Absolutely. And I just want to reiterate, I know I probably said this 100 times, but it's so important. It can't be a game. It can't be doing it to try to make a guy jealous or manipulate him into trying to commit. It has to be authentic, because you are a super high value woman who's not going to commit herself to anyone who isn't fully committed to her. And I just want to end by saying it's not the amount of effort that you put into the relationship that determines a man's desire to keep chasing you and to commit to you. It's the amount of effort that he puts in that determines this desire. So again, if you're chasing him, if you're strategizing, playing games, trying to lock him down into some kind of commitment before he's ready, that energy is going to keep him at arm's length. It will definitely prevent him from pursuing you and wanting to get you to commit to him. So it's really important. You have to lean back into your feminine energy, let him put that effort in, and you'll see how much easier it is when you go about things that way. So before we close out, Adrienne, any last words?
Oh, that was so well put. I love that. And you know, we love making these videos for you all. We love being your own little personal support system. And thank you so much for watching. And just be sure and check out our programs and go that extra step to invest in yourself and look a little deeper, a little closer. However, do keep watching our videos, but in our programs, you get that bundle. It's all put together in one package. You don't have to watch this video here and that video there and kind of duct tape it together. You'll get everything all in one package and have us as your support system, as well as our whole VIP library. There's a lot of stuff in there Helena and I worked very hard on. So you'll get it all in one big package.
Yeah, check the description right underneath this video for links to both programs. And if you buy them together right now, you'll get them at the special bundle price on sale right now. So check those out if you're interested, and be sure to give this video a like and a comment. Let us know any questions you have or any experiences you have. I'm actually really curious to hear about some of your experiences with this topic in particular. Adrienne, thank you so much, and we will definitely do this again soon.